Maybe by the time you hear this, the Aztecs may have decided on their starting quarterback, but as of the end of the third week of the fall camp, no news on that front. Steve Perez with Weiner. This is Aztecs All In, where, as we say it with me people now, all in on San Diego State University Aztec Athletics, and we say hello to the Johnny Carson of San Diego State Aztec Sports Podcasting, Mr. Weiner.
Hello, Steve, and over the next few weeks, the Aztec Fast offense will have to pick up the pace if they want to be ready for Week 1.
That's right, getting close to that first game, August 31st at Texas A&M Commerce. Friday featured a close scrimmage. There were no coaches or players officially available, so in this edition, we will talk more defense at the key cornerback position.
We'll talk to the Aztecs' new wide receiver coach and passing game coordinator, Lanear Sampson, about the group he's coaching, and we'll also hear from a couple of players as well.
And we check in with returning senior place kicker, Gabe Plascencia, who, because of his background, apparently loves to mix it up on the field more than your average Garo Yepremian. So as we say, Coach Lew was cagey in his talk with media Wednesday after practice. He called it just another good work day. All the QBs still doing a good job competing with one another, working on their accuracy. He notes one key to the Aztecs' success this season, in this his first season, is how both the offensive and defensive lines come together. Overall, feels like things are right on schedule, though, for the rapidly approaching Game 1. To the corners we go now, where, like other defensive positions on the Aztecs roster, it's not a group that is accustomed to getting pushed around traditionally. Last year, though, the entire D got torched early on. Giving up 28 to squeak by Idaho State, the unit then gave up 35 in a loss at home against UCLA, 26 in a loss against Oregon State on the road. The showing that seemed to have the most impact on the Aztecs season in 2023 was the Mountain West Conference season home opener on a Friday night in September against Boise State. They surrendered 34 points. Not the way a ball-controlled, defensive-minded team the Aztecs were designed to be at the time under then-coach Brady Hoke. Aztecs now have to show improvement on the defensive side in their first 4 non-conference games this year before opening up conference play this year at home against Hawaii October 5th. It may be the defense will face even more pressure this season. The Sean Lewis-led Aztec Fast approach could result in shorter rest periods for the defense, particularly if the offense sputters early on and it ends up resulting in a lot of 3-and-outs. At first glance, the cornerback spot seems to be one of the defensive areas where the Aztecs have some depth, along with some talented underclassmen. Cornerbacks coach Demetrius Sumler agrees to a point, but says it's going to take hard work and avoiding the injury bug as well. At the corner, Aztecs have at least 4 solid upperclassmen, including returning corner Chris Johnson on the left, featured in our last episode, and in place of transferred CB Des Malone, Tennessee State transfer Bryce Phillips on the right. Phillips with the pedigree, an older brother who's with the Falcons. Also, Bennett Walker, a San Diego native with raw ability who has transferred in from Eastern Michigan, and senior Jelani Whitmore of Rialto, who bolstered the Aztecs' special teams last season. Sumler has 7 official years in coaching cornerbacks. With the exception of last season, historically the Aztecs defense has been solid, stingy, and hard-hitting in a 3-3-5 set. Coach Lew is his new head coach, and new defensive coordinator Eric Schmidt runs a 4-2-5 defense. But to Sumler, fundamentals and aggressive play at the corner spot remain the same.
As a coach, you got to have your own style and what you're going to do. Obviously, it has to be within the confines of his culture and what they want. But he's going to let us be us. So I'm still going to be demanding, still going to celebrate and have a good time with him. But no, my approach on how I coach hasn't changed at all. I think it's pretty similar, to be honest. I mean, out there, it all essentially turns into man-to-man, whether you're playing zone or man-to-man. So you got to be able to run, you got to be able to cover, and the offense are going to put you in situations where you're going to have to come up and be physical and tackle also. So I don't really think there's much difference at the position. Like we're going to play aggressive. We want to put hands on guys, and obviously we don't want to do anything stupid. We don't want to do anything blatant. But we're always going to err on the side of being aggressive, and if a flag is called, a flag is called.
At San Diego State, the cornerback position comes with its share of history. Most recently, there's 2020 standout Darren Hall, now with the NFL's Arizona Cardinals.
That's something we talk about in the recruiting process and all the time in the room. And those guys are still active in the room. Those guys come back and spend time, and they talk to those guys and say, hey, we got a tradition of having some really good DBs here, and, you guys are carrying the torch, so you guys got to maintain that standard.
Who was the last guy to come in and talk about that?
We actually had Trenton Thompson here a couple of days ago. Yeah, so he's a free agent right now, so him and Kiava Tizino were here, and they talked to us a couple of days ago. And then in the spring, we had Taylor Hawkins, Darren Hall, all those guys came back, Cam Thomas, and spent a couple of days with us and, really kind of shared that message.
After they had those talks, do you notice a little bit of change in your kids?
A little bit, yeah, it's a little bit of change. It's like being a parent, right? You could tell them, and you tell them over and over again, but those people they look up to, when they say it, it hits a little different, So it's big, and like I said, our guys, and when those guys were here, the Caseys and those guys talk to those guys. They talk to those guys. So it's been good. Could have a good brotherhood in that room.
Phillips wants to be one of those guys that Future Aztecs talks about. Calls himself aggressive, physical, and a corner not afraid to hit.
Definitely, same thing they told me about how old San Diego State and how the practice habits and thudding up, and guys weren't just running backs weren't running free down the field. And I was talking to a few guys yesterday about that, and it's definitely good to hear that and hear from older guys who've been in the process, who've been here on this field. Corner is such a technical position, so you can never be too technical. So things like staying in my pedal and just the smallest, littlest details that are going to help me in the game.
Here's Coach Lew's take on the corners.
Coach Sumler does an unbelievable job. Right? Chris Johnson's had a really productive camp. Bryce, has done a really nice job as well. Xavier Hamlin's done a really nice job. Bennett, Walker, again, competitive. It's deep. They go about it the right way. They have attention to detail to their craft, and they're all really, really competitive kids with short-term memories. They're not going to be perfect. They're out there on those islands from time to time, and when they have a play that doesn't necessarily go their way, but I think they do an unbelievable job of clearing it, refocusing, playing the next play, and have confidence in themselves because of the work that they've put in.
The cornerback position is a tough one in the Aztec style of doing things. Many times they are called to cover man-to-man on the opposing team's best receivers. Also playing zone defense at times when that's the call, also not an easy task. A smart QB and skilled wide receiver can make defenders appear hapless. There's a lot of open space on a football field at times. And if you give a quarterback enough time, all a receiver has to do is sit down in a spot where defenders aren't. So, the position takes a lot of confidence, bravado, and swagger to be good at that position at the D1 level. We'll close this segment with one of my nagging questions when it comes to defenders trying to cover a trash-talking wideout.
Who gets away with more when you're in coverage on a wide receiver, you or the wide receiver?
Who gets away more?
Who gets away with?
You know who. Receiver don't never get called. We can't get nothing. We can't get nothing out here.
Steve, fans got their first look at Sean Lewis's Aztec Fast offense at FanFest this past Saturday, and two wide receivers really stood out. Sophomore Balin Brooks, who returns from last year's team, caught 6 passes for 92 yards, including a 58-yard touchdown reception from A.J. Duffy. And redshirt freshman Jerry McClure had 5 catches for 100 yards, including a 26-yard touchdown reception from freshman quarterback Javance Tuapata Johnson. McClure is a transfer from UCLA who got into 2 games last year for the Bruins but decided to enter the transfer portal at the end of the season. He has 4 years of eligibility remaining, and it's a homecoming for McClure, who played his high school football at Mater D Catholic in Chula Vista. After practice this week, McClure talked about what it's like for him to return home and how his skill set fits in to Sean Lewis's fast-moving offense.
It's been a great experience just being home, back in an area that I'm really familiar with. I get to see my family almost every single day, and just the people here, I just really like it a lot. And it's just like it's a really family-safe home, I feel like, and it just brings out a different type of person in me, a joyful person, which is really good for on and off the field, I think. I was just hoping to be accomplished. Knowing that people know me here, I just accomplished that. I went away for a little bit. That didn't go so well, but I came back, and I'm here to help them win a championship, put San Diego State on the map again, as they were a few years ago, and just play football. I think my skill set is I can adapt quickly to situations, hard situations. I feel like if I don't do quite as well the first time, over time I can really get used to it and make that really a big part of my game as well. We get along great. Everyone's just fans. We each have a piece to bring to the field, especially the wide receiver room, where everybody has different areas that they can improve on, but also they're really good in. And I feel feel like that brings us even closer together. If you need help on something, another person can help you with that as well. We just know we got to keep the receiving room up. We can't let that fall down just because the starters are down. We just need to show we can't show weakness. I think that's a really good opportunity to show that our receiving room isn't just the starters, but also we have backups that can do good as well.
Steve, wide receivers coach and passing game coordinator Lanear Sampson comes to San Diego State from Austin Peay, where he was the co-offensive coordinator last year. He played his college football at Baylor, and after playing in both the NFL and CFL, started his coaching career at Syracuse in 2016 and was on the same staff there as Aztecs head coach Sean Lewis. Sampson is coaching a mix of veterans and young players. Earlier, I mentioned Brooks and McClure, a sophomore and redshirt freshman, but also in the mix is senior Mekhi Shaw, who last year with the Aztecs caught 28 passes for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's joined by senior transfer Jashawn Polk, who comes from the Aztecs from West Virginia, but played at Kent State under Coach Lewis from 2019 to 2022, catching more than 70 passes for nearly 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. Sampson says there's a lot of talent in the wide receivers room, and that also means a lot of depth.
I always talk about opportunities. Like one guy go down, it's next man up mentality. So we just got to continue to, bring up the other guys, and they're all battling for a position right now. And the freshmen, getting a chance to get out there and mix it up a little bit. They just getting here this summer and July, but they're getting a chance to get in here and mix it up as well. So it's been great for them to get reps because you can learn in the meeting room, you can get on the board, you can watch film and all that stuff, but getting the real work on the field, I mean, nothing subsides that. So. I mean, you see flashes in all of them. We just got to continue to grow as a receiving core. A lot of the guys are young, and so Jerry has emerged. Balin has had some great days, and Nate Bennett as well, and even you see Ben and Will as well. So all the receivers have flashed during this time and continue to grow and continue to hone in on their craft and make plays. And depth is good, right? You can win in many different ways, and San Diego State's used to winning with pound the rock, 12 personnel, which is great, right? And we just have a different feel to it. Based in more so open personnel sets where we're going to need a little bit of depth at receiver because we're out there running routes, making plays and things like that. So the depth needs to go accordingly.
Sampson says the biggest challenge for the group during both spring and now fall practice is dealing with the pace of the game. But with such an athletic group, he says the players are up to the challenge.
It's an athletic group, right? They're very athletic. They all have their niches, right? Like we didn't all bring in the same receiver. We didn't all bring in, short, fast receivers or tall, not as fast receivers. We got a great mix. And I think every receiver that we have on this depth chart has their strengths.
Considering how fast the offense goes, will there be more substituting than there would be for traditional offense, or how does that work per se?
I mean, that's the reason why we practice the way we practice, right? Like we are who we are, and so the guys on the field got to go, right? Like we train this way, off season things like that. We train the way we practice, so them guys gonna have to suck it up and roll with it, and obviously, we'll make some changes when needed.
Another receiver who brings some experience to the Aztecs this season is senior Nate Bennett, who transfers in after 4 years at Portland State, where in 33 games he caught 110 passes and scored 4 touchdowns. It's a Southern California homecoming for Bennett, who played his high school football in Simi Valley.
It was definitely something I was thinking about. I was looking for the best fit, all in all, but this place was the best fit for me. Coach Lewis is an amazing coach, and it was a no-brainer. It happened to work out that it was the best program that I was fortunate enough to have an offer from, and it happened to be, not too far from home. I would say in the spring it definitely there was an adjustment period, but I'd say at this point now we've gotten acclimated, and the expectation is higher for sure. We're expected to work hard every single day, no matter how our body's feeling, whatever it may be, and I think that's a good thing though. I've always, enjoyed pushing myself, and I think I'm glad that I have a coaching staff that pushes me in that way. I would say competitiveness and just the competitiveness every day and leadership, and when it comes to contested catches as well, I think that's somewhere I excel, and I think I can use my leadership ability. I know I can use my leadership ability to help the guys, you know, when they kind of deal with the same things that I dealt with when I was younger, like I mentioned earlier about ups and downs. So, yeah.
Steve, I got the chance to ask Coach Sampson about the speed in the offense and whether that means more substitutions at the wide receiver position compared to a more traditional offense. And he said flatly, no. This is what they train for, and they better be able to handle the workload, he said, or they won't get onto the field.
Next up, Lewis at special teams. One of the facets of football seems to merit attention from typical fans in one of two ways, if they think about it at all. One, something amazing happens, a kickoff or a punt return for a touchdown, a blocked kick leading to a turnover, and, of course, the game-winning field goal. And you know me, Lewis, by now. I can't look. The second attention getter is the groaner, the big doink off the crossbar to lose. Or there's the ever-popular giving up the big return. This leads us to special teams coach Zac Barton, who jokes that he lives in constant fear. He draws the assignment by virtue of success in the position with head coach Lew at Kent State. 2018 to 2022, he held the same position at Kansas last season. In 22, Kent State teams ranked nationally in kick return defense. They had a kickoff returner named to the All-MAC second team. Prior year had a kicker named to the third team All-Conference and ranked nationally in kick return and punt return defense. Aztecs no slouch in the special teams department in years past. Most recently, Jordan Bird, good for a TD return a year through 2022. And punter Matt Ariza, back in the NFL now with a leg that won't quit. Most of his kicks and punts in his days with the Aztecs were pretty much unreturnable. Last season, Jack Browning solid in the kicking game, accounting for 15 total points in last season's win over Fresno State. The NFL's Buffalo Bills giving him a look over the summer. So, like other facets of the San Diego State football program, a lot of history to build on with the idea of taking it up a notch.
Special teams, we keep telling these guys, like, well, there's no second down. You know what I mean? We get one shot at getting this thing right. And the urgency we have to do when we go out there, it's got to be like a game every time we go out there. Well, I think right now consistency, I think from the drop off, the NFL players that they've had here, the specialist is the biggest deal. They've had special players at the specialist position. And it's a unique position where you can be so good that nobody else matters. You know what I mean? You can make up for a ton of mistakes if you're really truly special at that position. You know what I mean? Even if your protection's bad, if you got an elite long snapper and an elite punter, you can get it off. If you got an elite kicker, he can make you right all the time. So that's our standard here, is to try to get that and surpass that. So that's what we're working on right now in that group. We got a really good group. We've got to figure out a way to maintain that standard and keep raising it.
Gabe Plascencia still the number one kicker, but Barton says he needs to raise his performance because he and Nick Lopez are pretty even in the kicking off and place kicking department. Selfishly, a coach is always looking for someone who can own that roster spot and pretty much take the decision out of his hands. Newcomer Tyler Postula, a senior transfer from the University of Albany, a career punter there, is the Aztecs' choice head punter for the moment, working on his hang time, but averaging more than 45 yards per attempt. Lewis came away from a talk with Plascencia with a lot more respect after learning of his experience in high school in the Bay Area at Bishop O'Don. Primarily a soccer guy, they got him into the football game because of his size back then, and of course his kicking ability. He ended up playing the offensive line there for some guys whose names you might recognize.
I started at right tackle and right guard my junior and senior year of high school. I was like 260 at the time, so I was a little heavier than I am now, but it was a great experience. I got to play under an NFL player and Coach Kaufman, Napoleon Kaufman, running back for the Raiders. And our staff was amazing. I mean, our receivers coach was J.J. Stokes. Our fullbacks coach was Vardell, who played for the Browns and played at Stanford. DC played for the Raiders. We just had a great staff around us. My O-line coach was actually the son of John Madden, Coach Mike. Great guys. Playing O-line was an experience for sure. I mean, I would go play a whole drive it down the field, and then go out there, kick off a field goal, and then go back and kick off a kickoff. And I was just coming off the sideline like, oh my gosh, this is difficult. I don't know how guys do play both ways, but I mean, it was fun. I love the experience. It really helps out here when we're doing scout team for the defense or anything. You know, I actually know football.
In the return games, Barton says the Aztecs plan to be aggressive and look to bring the ball upfield. Aztecs punt returner Mekhi Shaw won the job with his play in spring ball. In kickoffs, the first-choice wide receiver Jashawn Polk, who comes to the Aztecs by way of West Virginia and Kent State. There's that school again. He owns a 25.2-yard kick return average, 11th best in the nation the past 4 seasons. They are the starters, but being held out so far with what are described as minor injuries, both supposed to be good to go come the season opener. A final note, as Plascencia was asked about a rule change in the NFL this season, aimed at generating more returns and more excitement on kickoffs. Nothing the NCAA has to worry about this season, but if it comes to next, he says he's ready for it.
Kickers are going to have to be football players and make tackles now, which is in my wheelhouse. Personally, I feel like it's in my wheelhouse, but I'm kind of excited for that because I like to go down there. If it's not a touchback, I like to go down there and hit somebody or join in on the pile. So, yeah.
That's football.
That's football, yeah. Yeah, it's the O-lineman in me.
Gabe will appreciate this final note. It's about Aztecs women's soccer. They opened their season Thursday night with a shutout of Cal State Bakersfield at Snapdragon. Final there, 3-0. Another chance to see the women live noon Sunday, November the 18th. Weber State Wildcats on the Sports Deck. Admission is free, or you can catch it streaming on the Mountain West Network. Say goodbye now to the nice people, would you, Lewis?
And that'll do it for this edition of Aztecs All In. Thank you so much for listening. We are ready for the season. Will the players be? Well, I guess we'll find out in just a couple of weeks. Please follow or subscribe to Aztecs All In wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also drop us a line at aztecsallin@gmail.com, or you can follow us Aztecs_all_in on the X. So for Steve Perez, I'm Lewis Weiner. Until next time, so long.